And we're live. Yay, it's working. I'm so happy to have Lisa Michaud here today. She is the host of the Goalden Girls podcast and Mastermind. And, if you need help getting your Q4 goals dialed in, she is your girl. She helps women all over the world create the goals and set the goals that matter. And so here's the question: how many of you out there have given up already on 2020? Raise your hand.
I think a lot of people have given up. Like, judging by the memes, a lot of people have given up.
We're like, let's just move to 2021. But I know you're going to talk to us today about why we shouldn't give up, throw that baby out with the bathwater on 2020, because there's still it's a whole quarter left to plan. There's a whole quarter left to plan.
Totally. Yes. Can I speak to that before people decide to just throw away the year?
Yes, I would love for you to do that.
So, I definitely have seen the memes out there too, and definitely a part of me is excited to count down to 2021 and have that glass of champagne and be like, here we go. But here's the thing, and this is where my journey with coaching and with goals, where it started was a couple years ago, when I was living in Fort McMurray, which is a small northern Canadian town in the middle of Alberta. And I was living a really good life, living in corporate or working corporate. My husband and I had our house. We had a rental property. We were traveling. We had great friends. Everything was going really well. And then I had a health scare. And I faced the reality that I might only have a year or two left to live. And I remember that night laying in bed. Yeah, so I remember laying in bed with my husband. And I looked at him and I said, what do you want to do? If I only have a year or two left to live, what are we going to do? And he looked at me and he's super pragmatic. So he's like, well, you're the one with the timeline. What do you want to do? And the first thing that came to my mind in that moment is move to Vancouver. And what I realized was that my whole life, growing up as a little girl, I wanted to live in the city. I wanted to live in Vancouver. I'd come here and my parents would fall asleep in the hotel room and I'd go and I'd peek out the window and I'd listen to my Christina Aguilera CD and I'd dream about living there. And
She's my favorite.
So good, right? She's great. But what had happened, and I think this happens with a lot of our dreams, is over time, as I gotten older, I'd gotten more practical and realistic. And so the reasons why I couldn't live there just kept getting longer and longer. And at first it was like, well, that's not where my university is, and that's not where my boyfriend is, and then that's not where my job is, and now it's not where my first mortgage or my second mortgage. And it's not where all these things are. And my husband's a small town boy, and this whole list of reasons why I could never, and the city's also one of the most expensive in the world. So there's this whole list of reasons why I couldn't move here. And in that moment, being faced with the idea of, okay, I might only have a year or two left to live. Am I going to live by these excuses, or am I going to find a way to make it possible? I decided to find a way to make it possible. And so I'm super, super lucky that today I'm healthy. I mean, I'm getting over a little cold here, but for the most part, I'm pretty healthy. But what has stuck with me is that idea that so many of us, and myself included, we either don't give ourselves permission to go for our dreams because we're so busy looking at the excuses why we can't versus figuring out how it's possible. We don't think we're ready to do the thing. We don't know how, and that scares us. And so we stay stuck. And so that's what's gotten me that's where my whole journey began. That's why I'm so passionate about the work that I do and coaching and speaking and Goalden Girls podcast, is because I know firsthand that you can be living an amazing life and still be settling for less than what's possible in you and still die with regrets. And so that's kind of my mission, is to not have those regrets. So to me, that whole thing that we don't know, and we don't know how much time we have left. Not a single one of us. Our time is so precious in this world. And so for me, that's why I'm extra passionate about not wasting time away, because I believe we don't know how much of it we have left. And even in truthfully, in the darkest times, I had a friend say this to me a little while ago when I was, because if you think that this year has not been hard for me, or I'm just going to toxic positivity right over the crap, that's not what I'm here to do. But in those darkest moments, that's where the growth happens. That's where the learning happens. That's where you figure out what's really important to you, what's not working in your life, who's not right for you, and what you need more of. So to just skim through all the crap is not going to work, and an insult to the life and the precious time that you've been given on this planet. Whew, I'll get off my
Oh my God.
soapbox
Yeah.
now.
No, I mean, it's a soapbox that I will stand on you with because I
Mm.
had a health scare as well. I left corporate because I had adrenal burnout. And when I got the diagnosis, I was just tired all the time. I worked shift work for 17 years and like, I'm tired because I don't sleep
Mhm.
enough. Duh. But when I got the test results back, he goes, I don't even know how you are here in the office today. Like, you
Wow.
should be dead. Like, with these numbers, you should be like bedridden. I'm like, what? Like, I feel fine,
Wow.
but I was
Like
so
I'm a little
used to
tired, but I'm
living in,
good.
right, but I was
Wow.
so used to living in that level of tiredness and, that um lethargy even.
Mhm.
And it really made me think about what was really important. And he told me, he goes, I'll give you a year before you quit your job, because he goes, there's no way you can sustain this. And like,
Wow.
well, and he was so correct. I quit corporate like not even like a little over a year later after my diagnosis, and
Mm.
I stepped into project management, and I never looked back. Well, I did
Oh my
look
gosh.
back during COVID. I was like, maybe I should get a job. Like, scarcity, the
Mhm.
scarcity mindset was so rampant. I'm like,
Mhm.
hon, should I get a job? Like, are people even gonna buy coaching at this time of year? That
Mhm.
honestly, it's been the most like my business has flourished during COVID.
Wow, that's
It's
amazing.
so
That's so
amazing.
cool. So cool. Yeah, I think, my husband and I were just had a little lunch date, and we were just saying how and this is not to minimize how hard it has been on a lot of people, businesses that have been lost, like livelihoods that have been shifted, but there is like new industries being created. There's new opportunities being built. And for people that are willing to be creative and really share their gifts with the world and do the work to get it out there, there's always going to be opportunities for us no matter what. And I think that's something that this pandemic has definitely taught me. Because, in the
Yes.
beginning, my business did a bit of a dip for sure. And now we're back up, which is amazing and so great.
Yeah. And it's like you help women create goals. And like, I just want the women out here to understand that the year's not over, right? If we're going to just bypass the rest of the year, I mean, if if you only like, who knows? And tomorrow's never promised to anyone, right? And you're going to just bypass last quarter,
Mm-hmm.
you never know what's going to happen. I mean, especially like I live in California now, the fires are happening. It's
Mm-hmm.
thank God it's not close to where I am, but my dad's even calling me. He's one of those hands-off dads. But he's calling me from Hawaii asking, how are you? How's the
Mm-hmm.
fires? And I'm like, oh, for my dad to reach out and ask how we're doing, it must
Mm-hmm.
be like critical for him because he's one of those touchy feely guys.
Totally, totally, totally. So I know that's a very like philosophical, high level and like heart why you need to pay attention to the rest of this year. But the other part of it is that there's still, I think last count, 108 days left in this year, or 106 or something like that. Like that's still a lot of time to
Yes.
make progress. If you decided to make a difference, if there was something, and by the way, let me tell you, if you're listening to this and you're like, there's a lot of things that are falling apart or that I'm not happy with, then like good, pick one, because you have from now till the rest of the end of the year, you've got a lot of time and space to actually make a difference in something. And for me, I think I want to make this distinction that sometimes people don't love the word goals or they get triggered by goals. And for me, I don't care
Mhm.
if you want to be a CEO, or if you want to grow a huge business, or what you want to do. And in fact, I prefer that people don't just look at those kinds of goals. But what I want you to think about is your intention. And goals are just intention. Goals are just saying, here's what I'm about. Here's what I'm
Right.
going to create in my life. Here's what I want to experience more of. Here's how I want to feel in my life. And here's how I want to be in this world. That's what it's about. That's what goals are about. And that, like, not even COVID can take that away from you. That's what this is about.
Oh yeah, yeah, and like we talked last, right? The whole spaghetti thing, right? Our goals as women, they're all intertwined. Our personal goals and our business goals, they're all connected. It
Mhm.
we I know, like maybe men could, right? Because they compartmentalize or they're linear thinkers. Like if they get if they get the big client, get the big contracts, whatever, they feel good. But if women we do that and like our family gets left in the dust, there's no way we feel good about that. It's, all of us is encompassed in everything that we do.
I
Yeah.
think when you have, I should say this too, I think when you have a very aligned goal, I think that when you can achieve an
Right.
aligned goal, because one of the biggest issues, I think that the biggest problems or mistakes I see people make is that they set all the goals, right? We're like, okay, I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and this, and that, and I'm going to do it in 3 months, and it's going to be amazing. And then when 2 months down the road, or 4 months down the road, or a year down the road, we still haven't done it, we think there's something wrong with us, or we haven't done enough, or we're not good enough, or we're not smart enough, or it's not meant for us.
Right.
And I think so many times we try and compress what we should be doing and looking at over 5 years into a year. And so people underestimate what they can do in 5 years, but we overestimate what we can do in a year. So what I like to say to people is pick one goal, pick one focus. And I like to say for 100 days. So like anytime right now, like I say 100 days.
But I want you to talk about your 100 days.
Yeah. If you pick
100 days thing.
Yeah, if you pick 106 days, I don't care. If you pick 95 days, I don't care. Like just like when you find a goal, find something meaningful, go from now till the end of the year and just be consistent. And the reason why I say to pick one thing is because what I find is when it's aligned and when it's a really good goal, the rising tide lifts all the boats. So let's say you decided and here's a lot of people come and they're like, oh, I can't pick because it's all important. My work is important. The way I'm with my kids is important. My relationship's important. My finances are important. My health is important. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, let's say that you just, and this is after some discussion, let's say you just picked, let's say sleep. Let's say you just wanted to get better at sleep. Do you think if you had better sleep, that would better affect the work that you're doing? And with that, what would that mean for your relationship, right? And what would that mean for your family? And what would that mean for your ability to, actually enjoy the time you're spending with your friends? So same thing with, when you're doing work.
Another one, it's losing weight, right? I used to be a health coach, helping people with adrenal burnout, and weight loss it was funny when I got people sleep dialed in.
Yeah.
They lost the weight. I personally, when I recovered from my adrenal burnout and my sleep was dialed in, I dropped 20 pounds just like that. No working out change. Nothing changed with my workouts. Nothing changed with my diet. I mean, I was already a clean eater, but think about it. Yeah, you're so right. Sleep affects everything. I mean, that's a whole nother podcast,
and that's just one example, right? But when it's an aligned goal, it can actually impact everything else. So let's say you say, for the next 100 days, I'm going to focus on my relationship with my partner, or maybe it's just I'm going to focus on giving myself fulfilling, fun activities. I'm going to take basket weaving. And if that makes you a happier person and that unleashes creativity, then you're probably going to be more creative at work and you're not going to feel resentful about your kids. And it all connects to each other. And so I am a believer in one focused goal. And once you dial something in that, like your sleep or like your creativity, goals are never really about the end outcome. It's about who you become in the process. And what you set as a goal now typically becomes just who you are and how you do things. And so it becomes a habit and it becomes a routine. So then you can stack more and more positive things on top of that. Yeah. But when you try and pile it all on at once, it ends up collapsing and leads to either burnout or being discouraged. So that's kind of one of the biggest things I would say for anybody who's ready to give up on this year. I'd say, A, don't give up. B, just think about one thing, one intention, one way that you want to feel, something that would really, maybe you want to feel more courageous. Maybe you want to feel more inspired. Maybe you want to feel more connected, loving. Pick a way you want to feel and find a goal that's going to allow you to feel that way. That's what I would say from now until the rest of the year.
That's so smart. A lot of times, we as women want to hit the X target. But when you talk about how we want to feel, it puts everything into perspective. It's I want to hit 6 figures. But how do you want to feel when you hit 6 figures?
Can we talk about that for a quick minute? Because I think this is really important. Okay, so I'm hosting I'm hosting next week a live workshop going through and helping people set up their goals for the rest of the year. I did this about a month and a half ago, and it was so powerful. And this was one of the questions that came up, was specifically around income. And it was this is what one of my amazing clients. She's a very successful blogger and entrepreneur, and she said to me, I have this. This is the target that I want to hit. She's like, what are you saying? Like, oh, I can't. Because what I say also with feeling is I want you to feel that way every step along the way. I don't want you to wait for December 31st. Like, I want you to find a way to feel loving, to feel powerful, to feel inspired, to feel strong, whatever, every single day along the way. She was like, I don't get it. How am I supposed to feel this way? Like, until the money is in my bank account, girl, how am I supposed to feel that way? And I'm like, okay, let me break this down for you. So why do you want the six? And anybody listening that's like, how do I do this? How do you want to feel when you have the money? Like, what is that money going to allow for you? Is it a certain amount of freedom? And by the way, don't just say freedom, but like, what do you mean by freedom? Freedom to choose how you spend your time, freedom for the kind of work that you're doing, freedom to take a weekend off. Like, what does freedom mean to you, right? So get clear on that. Maybe it's feeling abundant. Maybe it's feeling stability. And like, that's a big one for people too. So what I say then, or maybe it's feeling abundant, is then to look at like, how can you feel that way every single way along the way? And you might be thinking, okay, this is crazy. I just need the dollars in my bank account. Well, I'm going to tell you, as someone who has made, $4 an hour and $8 an hour up to making multiple six figures a year, without consciously recognizing that and appreciating how it makes me feel, I will tell you, I have felt broke at every single stage. At every single stage, I could have told you that I feel like I don't have enough money. Yeah. 80 or 90% of millionaires don't feel financially stable. And so it's not the money that's going to give that number, that confidence, that abundance. It's going to be your attitude towards it. So how do you start to shift that now? What I said to my client, this entrepreneur who was like, I need that money in my bank account before I'm going to feel that way. I said, okay, what can you feel today? How can you feel abundant or stable? Like, did you wake up this morning and you had a roof over your head? Is that's stability? When you look in your bank account, is there some money in there? Like 5 cents? Is there some money in there? That's your stability. When you open up your fridge, is there food in there? That's stability. When you were able to call on your partner for help or call a friend or whatever, like that's stability. So find ways every single day to feel that feeling, because otherwise, trust me, you're going to hit six figures and then you're going to think, okay, so 100,000 wasn't enough. I bet you it's because I need to hit 200,000. That must be it. And then when you hit 200,000 and you still don't feel that way, you're going to think that it's going to be 500,000 and a million and all the way up. So that's the difference. And the same thing with a certain weight target, with how you feel in your clothes. It's about, maybe you want to feel confident. Maybe you want to feel strong. Well, let me tell you, it's not going to be the number on the scale that's going to make you feel that way. It's going to be how you actually feel in your body, in the way that you move, in the way that you exercise, in the way that you show up, the way that you walk different, you dance different, that's what it's about. Yeah. And so, so I think sometimes goals, get a bad rap and people ignore them because they're like, oh, that's like, it doesn't actually change anything. And they're right. Yeah. But at the same time, we can change things every single day along the way to make ourselves feel the way we want to feel. Right.
I love that. And right, you said it's the process of getting to the goal that changes us on the inside, and who are we being every day as we're going towards the goal? That's so good. I mean, exactly. I was taking notes.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah, and I just love how you mapped it out. Like, I love your 100-day thing because everyone's like, it's 90 days. But I love that yours is the 100-day, right?
Well, you know what? Honestly, the days doesn't really matter that much.
It doesn't matter.
But what I've found is that I think 100 days is fun. I like 100 days. But what I also found is that people sometimes will be like, okay, 90 days, it's got to be a quarter. And so what they do is they just don't start. And
I start Monday.
Yeah, which okay, and there is some research to show that starting on certain days can be powerful. But the problem is that there are very few quarters that also perfectly line up with Mondays, that perfectly line up with when you're feeling great and all the things. So 100 days is just get started. Literally go to Google, punch in 100 days from today and get moving. And you're going to see. And really it's about consistent action. And like I said, whether you're doing it for 85 days or 115 days, either way, you're going to see results because you're doing it long enough to make a difference and you're being consistent on one thing and you're taking action towards one focused thing. That's what's going to get you the results. Not like what day it is or exactly how many days. It's the consistent action and the focus that makes the difference. So that's why I love 100 days. And I need to say that, like, don't let that limit you. Let that expand you and be like, yes, I can do this today, any day.
Right. And you know what, when you're talking, what hit me the most is a lot of times when we don't see the result right away, we give up.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and that's what you're talking about. It's just being consistent over 100 days on something when we've never been consistent before is just amazing. You know, like that's the win. That's the win.
Is the win. Yes. If you're looking for a way to feel confident, like, you showing up for yourself is going to make you feel confident. Absolutely. I'll show you, like, this is what I give to my community and what I give out in the workshop too. So like like you can make this yourself, but like it's just 100 days and that's all it is. And if every day you start ticking these boxes, you're going to see yourself making progress. You're going to not want to break that chain. Like, there's a lot of research that shows this is very powerful too, to show, and we want to tick the box. It feels good. And we want to continue making actions. So, you know, something simple like this to help track your goals can really help you. And again, whether it's 100 days or 80 days, whatever it is, like, just get going.
Yeah, like there's one of my mentors in the past that she used to call it, like, when you buy a course or something and like, you have so many things in your Dropbox graveyard, right? She used to call it finish shame. Like the shame of not finishing. And I think that having a visual representation like how you have, it's just so simple. Like, I could take a blank sheet of paper and write numbers 1 to 100.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Like, don't let, oh, I need to go to the workshop to get this worksheet. It's like, no, people, take out the blank piece of paper. I guarantee you have notebooks sitting on your desk. Write out numbers 1 through 100. Here.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, even just write numbers 1 through 10. 1 through 10 even.
100%. This is like so simple. And if you put it on your fridge, your partner's going to ask you about it. If you're in a workspace, like, your coworkers are going to ask you about it. And that's such powerful accountability and support too.
Right.
Like, there's not, with goal setting, I've learned this. There's not one tip or one trick that's going to help every single person every single time. But if we can look at the things that work in terms of like the habit research and in terms of productivity science, and then also layer that with like what works with us, then we can find ways to create really simple systems or processes like this that actually work to help us move closer to where we want to be.
I love that. And I mean, so since, you brought it up, like, yes, if you go to Lisa's workshop, you'll get your fancy 100-day calendar. But what else can they get when they attend your workshop?
So good question. What I wanted to do was I know a lot of people are feeling deflated about this year. And if you have not felt overwhelmed or struggled or ugly cried this year, you're probably not human. So what I wanted to do is create a space where we can come together and have these conversations, to create these connections, to build relationships, and to move through to a place where we do feel excited again, where you do feel energized, where you are motivated and you have something to look forward to. That's what it's about. So the workshop it's 2 days, and it's a blend of both content and, the actual, like, we give you a playbook to work through it. We work through, like, how do you actually we work through first, like, reflecting and what's worked and what hasn't this year. We look at what are your intentions? What do you really want? What's the actual feeling you're looking for? And it's a mix of coaching with me and breakout rooms where you get to connect with like-minded people and talk about it and help each other out and support you. Yeah, it's a really amazing, like, it feels weird to brag about it, but it's actually amazing. And I want people to come. When we did it in August, we just had the best feedback, and the women have made really big differences in their lives. So I want that for more people. So
Yeah,
that's kind of
especially
day.
in this time where we're so isolated, for women to get to come together and support each other virtually. And even
Yeah.
if you don't have a community,
Now you do.
here's
This
one.
this is the
Now you
community.
do.
Exactly. I was just looking at so many people have been like, oh, like, I'm a mom, or I'm an entrepreneur, but like no one else around me has goals or dreams, and like I feel kind of alone. Like, come, this is your place. This is where you get to feel like you're not alone. And then we actually create. You will walk away with a goal plan of like, what are some of the milestones you need to hit? What are and then really important, like, what are some of the things that might get in your way, and how do we help you break through them? Is there time we need to free up? Are there conversations, tough conversations you need to have? So much of it comes down to limiting beliefs. And we do so much work on this, like, where are you doubting yourself? Where are you not showing up? Where are you silencing yourself? Where are you afraid of what other people are going to think? And so we actually do the work on that to help reframe your mindset, give you the coaching, give you the support to do that. So yeah, it's just, I'm very proud of everyone that it came to the last workshop. I've seen what it did for them, how it built community, how it got them excited for, the rest of the year, and how it re-inspired them. And I just want that for more people. So if you want to join, and by the way, I'm doing it super affordable because I know times are tough for people, but I want this to be in people's hands. I want people to have the opportunity to come. So it's only $47 US for like 2 days of content, coaching, networking. Like, it's a smoking deal. You won't find it any better than that. But I know the power that is there. So that's why I'm very proud about it and want to like shout it from the rooftops to everyone.
Yeah. What days are they going to be hosted on?
So it's next Tuesday and Wednesday, September 22nd and 23rd.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's coming up, folks. And, if you just need like a sisterhood to connect to, I encourage you to sign up for the workshop. I mean, I was talking to someone today and she felt alone, and, she reached out, and and I was like, yeah, it's totally okay. She's like, I don't know anyone who understands what I'm going through as an entrepreneur, as, woman of faith, and I'm seeing all these things happen in the world, and like, I don't know anyone who believes what I believe, and like, um she she lives in a kind of a rural area as well, so it's hard to
That's
even
one of
connect
the
when it's no COVID.
That's one of the biggest things I think that holds us back, is we think we're the only ones, and we don't always know where to go to find that community and find that connection. And so that's why I built into the workshop the breakout rooms, so that women can talk to each other. And it's not just me being like, oh, you're not alone, but it's actually you hearing from somebody else and hearing others' experiences, because there is something so powerful. Because then you're like, I'm not the only one that struggled this year. Or look, like, she also struggled with this, but this is what she did to move ahead. Like, that's awesome, right? So there is so much power in knowing you're not alone, both in the tough moments and in knowing that there's more out there, and that there's an upside too. So yeah, I'm such a believer in community. That's why I didn't just want to like do a webinar. Like, I think there's so much power in bringing people together and in that connection.
Yeah.
So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, especially in this time when there's forced isolation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
connection
no,
is more important now than ever.
extroverts need love.
And the introverts need it too. We all need it. We still need
Introverts need
connection.
it too.
I think, and I gotta say this, like, for the introverts that are like, oh, this is kind of like, introverts are you guys,
Breakout rooms, right? They get
yes.
scared of
And
breakout rooms.
introverts are also like, they're also the best at the really deep, good conversations. Like, my introverted friends,
Yes.
they don't like the small talk. They want to get to the real nitty gritty. Like, tell me everything about your life and your heart and your soul. That's what we're about. Like, I'm not here to talk about fluff. I'm not here to talk about, we have some jokes, we have some fun, but really, like, I want to get to the core of who you are, what's important to you, and how do we move you forward towards that. So if you're an introvert, you're going to love that aspect of actual deep conversations.
Yes. Yes. I mean, her name of her podcast is Goalden Girls, like goals, right? I mean, hit it, and and get it done. Like, don't waste the rest of this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's not time to sit it out. It's time to get in the game. And even if you just set a goal to be ready for 2021,
Mm-hmm.
like if you just sit on and do nothing as the rest of
Yeah.
the Q4, you're going to be such a disadvantage when
Yep.
2021 comes. Like,
Yep.
how, right? I'm sure you've seen so many people like, I'm just going to sit out. And then when 2021 comes, they're not going to be prepared. They're not going to be prepared at all.
I think this is the pattern
Like,
that so many people fall into is like they think, okay, well now I have to wait till January. And my gosh, if everybody just said, I'm gonna stop waiting till the time is right and just gonna wake up today and make it the best, that's what I want. And I
yeah,
don't care if we're talking about like growing your business, or we're talking about sleeping more, or you want to I don't basket weaving. It doesn't matter to me what it is, but just like don't waste your time on this planet. It's precious. Your time matters, your life matters. Go make the most of it.
amen to that. Yeah. So if you have not signed up, the link is in the comments, and I'll add it. Also, I forgot to add it into the description as well. But go and join the workshop. If you're feeling alone, you're feeling a little bit like giving up this year, go and join the workshop. Be surrounded by women who care and want to support you. And, for those of us who love to serve, go and serve others and give your love, give your light to those who may need it. You never know. You never know. I mean, and it's like a build a networking opportunity. I mean, if we're going there, who knows what kind of clients you could pick up, right?
I've already seen, yeah, so many connections have come out of our workshop. Like there's been people that have they're collaborating on podcasts or lives like we're doing here. Like
Exactly.
so many cool things. They're
Exactly.
like really amazing stuff have come out. I think at least one or two people from my workshop end up hiring each other for different things. Like it's
Right?
if we can't get out to events and do these things, you got to make the connection somewhere else. So you never know where a connection may serve you maybe right away. Like I said, at least 2 or 3 business connections out of the last workshop within the last 4 weeks. Imagine what that'll look like in a couple years.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, we're going to sisterhood, so jump on board.
Exactly.
Don't forget, click the link wherever it is.
Yeah, I'm like,
Click
I
the
don't
link
know, here, there,
on
out
the
there.
workshop.
LisaMichaud.com/workshop.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Lisa, for being here today, and hope you guys enjoyed this chat. And if you don't, like, go check out Lisa too. She's amazing. Like, the more I get to know about her and just see her work things out, it's just been amazing to see like your growth over, the short time that we've known each other. And like, no matter what happens, you keep moving forward, and like, you are the trendsetter for goal setting. I love that.
Oh,
She's a
oh my
she's a trendsetter goal setter.
Oh, thank
Yes,
you
yeah,
so much. That means
yeah.
so much to me, Kylie. You don't even know. Thank you for inviting me in. Thank you for asking such amazing questions. Thank you for sharing your beautiful wisdom with my community too. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you, and I know it's just the beginning.
Yes, yes. See, this is the wonderful things that can happen when you attend the workshop and you attend the masterminds. I love
Mm-hmm.
it. I love it. Love it. Okay, so don't forget, click the link, whoever. Click the link and join Lisa's workshop, and we'll see you there. Okay. Thank you, everyone. If you have any
Thanks.
questions, pop them below, and either Lisa and I will come in and comment back on them, like answer your questions about goals and how to get your Q4 going, your Q4 game strong. Like, it's not time to sit out.
No, make the most of it.
Make the most of it. All right. Thanks, guys. See you again. Bye.